If someone asks ChatGPT to recommend a product in your niche right now, there's a good chance that it's recommending your competitor. Not because your product is any worse, but because you haven't set up your store and you've made it harder for AI to read. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to create and upload a file into your Shopify store that will make it easier for ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, whatever AI to understand what you're selling and why they should recommend you and not your competitor. You may have already heard of a Google crawler. It's basically how Google goes around the internet to actually find all of the sites that are on the internet, understand their sitemaps, and understand how to actually index what exists so that it can display it on Google. These Google crawlers use a thing called LLMs.txt, which is a little snippet that's on every single website, or should be on every single website, that will basically tell them what the website's about, where they need to go to understand what the website's about, and just kind of direct them. AI has a similar mechanism, but you need a specific file in your site called LLMs.txt. Without that, the AI really struggles because when it goes onto your website, it can't scroll and it can't click any buttons. So if your website is full of pop-ups, or it's got a load of JavaScript and a lot of elements to it, or it's really nicely but like really overly designed, at least from the AI's perspective, it may just skip your site entirely because it's trying to prioritize the speed of their response. It's not going to commit to going through your website and sort of understanding it. It's just going to skip you entirely. So the solution to this, we simply need to add LLMs.txt to your site, and that is simply a text file that includes your brand name, what you're selling, and then sort of the AI, when it arrives on your site, the map of what you want it to go around and see and understand. So with the LLMs.txt, it won't actually need to navigate your site. It's going to have everything it needs in one file. Anything that you want to teach it, you're going to include in it. And then when it arrives on your site, it can bing, understand everything, and then hopefully prioritize your website over your competitors. It's important to know that AI agents are already indexing your website. Shopify's already introduced agentic storefronts, which you've probably seen, and this is because last year, between 2025 and 2026, there's already been an 8% increase in AI traffic to the average website, and this is obviously only going to compound and get more and more over time. Now, the thing is the AI agents can already get to your website, but with the LLMs.txt file that we're going to add, it kind of gives them the context and the content of your website so it can understand it better. Now, one quick note before we actually dive into this is current best practices, but no AI company, Anthropic, OpenAI, none of them have actually committed to LLMs.txt as a dedicated sort of, we will do this to understand your website. So it's working right now, but this is subject to change. So it definitely makes sense to do it. As you're going to see in a minute, it only takes like 5 minutes to actually put this little bit of code into your website, but there's no guarantee that this is actually going to have a long-term compounding effect for your site. So I've just picked a random e-commerce site here. I've used Uddy as it's sort of one of the gold standards of e-commerce. All I'm going to do is copy the URL, and so I'm pretending this is my site. Obviously, you'd have your own, and just give it to Claude. I've just said a basic prompt. This doesn't have to be anything crazy. I basically told it that I want to create an LLMs.txt file, that I want them to understand what my product is, so have a look at my store, and then ultimately why you should recommend my product to solve the problem. So we're just going to let Claude run, and you may go back and forwards a few times, but you don't need some crazy master prompt. Just speak to your Claude, explain what it is that you want to do, and give it the context. If it doesn't already have it, give it your site's URL. If you need to go back and forward and just make sure Claude really understands it, then do so. But ultimately, you just want the AI to come up and just give you the LLMs file that we can then upload into your store. So Claude scolded me a little bit and told me that the Uddy wasn't actually my store, and obviously it's right. But I've just gone back and forward and explained I'm using it just as an example for a YouTube video. So it has gone through it, and it's done it as if the Uddy was my store. So what it's going to give you here is on the right hand side is an actual just text document. The first part of it is going to be like a TLDR, like a too long didn't read, just a summary of your store, what it's about, what the products are, why these are good products, any features, and then it breaks it down further beneath that if the AI needs to read any more or needs to understand anything else. So it tells you what the product is, when they should and shouldn't recommend it, any sort of features that are standout features that it needs to understand, and then it's even been kind enough to explain to me how to actually deploy it on Shopify, but that's what I'll show you in the next step. So when you get this, obviously have a read through it. Don't just take the first output that comes, although if it's good, feel free. But you want to go back and forward with Claude as you would as with any prompt engineering, and just make sure that what it's actually going to put into your site is what you want the world to know about your site. And then you don't even need to save it as a document. You can just copy the text, and then we're going to go straight into Shopify itself. So once you arrive on your Shopify store, and this is just an example store I've got here, you're going to go to the online store like you normally would if you were going to actually edit your theme. And then rather than clicking on the edit theme button, you're going to do the three dots next to it, and click edit code, and that will bring up another tab. Don't worry, we're not going to actually have to touch the code. We're just going to add a file into the code base. Once you arrive, we want to put the file underneath assets. So the best way to do that is just to open assets, right click new file, and then you're going to name it. So you can probably guess what it's called. It's LLMs.txt, and make sure you do include the S, and that will open then up a brand new text document, and it will be completely empty. And then you can just copy what ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI you're using gave you before, and then just click save. And then the last thing we're going to do is just test that it's actually now working. So you're just going to come up to your URL here, and obviously yours would be your actual domain, and then you just type /LLMs.txt, without the E, and search it, and then you should see, there you go, the exact text that you want the AI to read. So it's as easy as that. You've now got your LLMs text set up on your website, and any AI can now find your website really easily, understand what you're about, and recommend your product. So understand that initially the traffic that will come to your site will just be the AI agents, and over time it will start to compound and you'll get more and more sort of real people, potential customers coming to your website. So don't expect anything crazy to happen overnight, but if you're in a less competitive market and there's less competitors that have actually implemented this, it should be a little boost to your traffic to your site, and hopefully more conversions for completely free. So this was just a quick one today, just a little tip you can add just to get ahead of the curve and get some AI agents starting to index your site for you. If you've made it this far to the end of the video, as always, I really appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe, that would mean the world to me. And if you have implemented this, let me know. I'd love to hear how it went for you. If you've got anything that you found out that I didn't explain, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to get better. And yeah, thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.